It's actually going to take you longer to watch this video than it is to do your valuation. So there are two really big barriers to getting a business valuation, knowing what your business is worth, and that's why only 2% of business owners know what their business is worth. And they're probably people who are already in the late stages of planning their exit, so they've gone through the time and the hassle and the expense of getting a valuation done. Well, I'm taking away those barriers today because in about 5 minutes with 8 pieces of information, I'm going to show you how you can figure out what your business is worth for free. No strings attached. You can know what your business is worth. Now, obviously, the more information you can provide when you're doing a business valuation, the tighter that number is going to be to the actual value. But with 8 pieces of information, most of which you have readily available, you can get a really good ballpark number. My name is Ashley Michike. I'm the CEO of True North Retirement Advisors, where we specialize in retirement and exit planning for business owners.
When we do valuations for our clients, we use a really powerful tool called Biz Equity, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. With 8 critical financial data points in your business, you can figure out what the valuation of your business is in 5 minutes. No joke. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here with you. And you're going to go, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to truenorth.ra.bizequity.com. And that will take you to a landing page that looks exactly like this. So the first step is you're going to enter in the name of the business, Keegan's Family Dental. We're going to do a dental practice. So 97015 is the zip code. And you can see down here, industry. This is a critical data point to measure or to input when you're entering your information for the business. So this is the first piece of the 8 pieces of information, and it's necessary because if you're a dentist or a plumber or you own a manufacturing firm, the valuation figure from your revenue, income, and the other data points is going to swing and change dramatically depending on what industry you're in. So different industries can have dramatically different valuations with the exact same figures entered. So for this dental practice, we're going to enter, we're just going to start typing in dentist and see what comes up here. Okay, so the beauty of this tool is that you could go look up the NAICS code right here, or you could just start typing in key words from your industry. You could do the same thing for plumber, but the important thing here is that if you're not sure or it's not completely obvious, that you go ahead and look that up. And I will include a search tool that you can use to figure out what your NAICS code is, which is the 62121 if you're a dental practice right there. So we've got that complete, and we're going to hit continue to go to the next page. Right here, you're going to start entering your basic information. So we have Keegan, and her email is Keegan at blah blah .com. Email is important though, because if you want to save for later, which is what this little icon over here on the far right will allow you to do. You can save your work and come back anytime, but it's only going to take you 5 minutes, so there's no reason to save. Also, if you want to delegate this to someone, you don't want to look up this information, you can send it to your bookkeeper and they should be able to enter this information pretty easily because they should have it all. All right, then we're going to enter other information about the practice, and in the interest of time, I'm going to leave this address here blank. But it is important to get an area, so you do want to fill this in. In this case, I'm just going to put the city and the state. And the business structure is an LLC, and the tax filing form is an 1120S. That is critical, as we'll see when we get to the next page. My dental practice started in 2012. I have 7 employees, and now I'm ready to move on. Now I'm ready to move on to the next page. We start by entering income, and actually you only need 2 data points other than the industry to get your valuation number, and that is revenue right up here and pre-tax profit. Keegan's Dental is projected in 2018 to have 1.1 million in revenue. The pre-tax income of the practice is 250,000, and the officer compensation is 190,000. Now, do you see up in the top right-hand side how that business valuation number is already populating, and it changes as you enter more data. So we're done with the first page there. There's only 3 pieces of information that you'll enter before you're going to go down here and click next step. But I do want to point out a couple of things. One is if you're using last year's data, that's fine. I'm using projected 2018 data. We're already halfway through the year, and I have those numbers pretty readily available, and I want the most up-to-date information for my valuation. But it's totally fine to use last year's numbers too, and if you want to establish a history, you could go back as far as 2016. But again, that gets a little bit more tedious, requires gathering some information, so you really only need to do either projected 2018 or last year's data. If you're using last year's data and you go over here to the little form icon next to revenue, it will pop up and it will tell you exactly where on your tax filing form that you can find this line item. So for example, we're an LLC and we told the software that we file 1120C form. 1120S. So it says you will find this in section income on line 1A. So if you're using last year's data, you can find that information right there. The other critical piece here is your pre-tax income. Again, it shows you where it can be found. That's on line 21. And then right next to the form icon, if you go ahead and hover over the orange question mark, and you'll see that each of the line items has that. It provides an explanation for what that data actually means. So in this case, the pre-tax income this is the amount of money your business earns, revenue minus expenses, before deducting income taxes, also known as pre-tax profit. Now be sure to pay attention to how the software is defining officer compensation. One of the things to note here is whether or not you can see this or not. Be sure to maximize your screen so you can see all of my numbers and the text here clearly. But at the bottom of this explanation, it says distribution should not be added here as they are already reflected in pre-tax income above. So just be sure that as you're entering this information that you're paying close attention so you're not double counting there, because obviously if you were double counting this, it's going to impact the valuation. It could be in a significant way. So we've already have our valuation number here, and we're going to enter some additional information to get a bit tighter on that number. So we're going to click next step, go to the next page. Here's where we're going to enter our assets. The only required piece of information right here on this page is accounts receivable. And we have accounts receivable currently of $90,000. And now that's done. And you can see how that adjusted. Now we're over $700,000 on our valuation. Again, you can enter more information than that, but that is the only critical data point on that page. On the Liabilities tab, after clicking on Next Step, we're going to enter 2 pieces of information on this page. One is accounts payable, which is what you owe to your suppliers. This would include any outstanding credit card balances as well. And our current accounts payable in our Keegan's Dental is $25,000. And then we're going to come down here to bank loans. And again, you can hover over the question mark, but you're going to tell this, the software, if you owe any debt to a bank or financial institution. So you're going to put the principal balance of that debt amount right there. But in this case, Keegan's Family Dental has no debt to banks or other financial institutions. So we're going to leave that blank and hit next step. And this page looks a little bit different. We have some growth metrics here. And the one we want to pay attention to is this long-term EBITDA margin. Again, we have an explanation there. This would be a step where EBITDA is earnings before taxes, interest, depreciation, amortization. It's not actually a line item on your tax form because you're putting a growth rate here. So that, or no, excuse me, not a growth rate. It's just a percentage margin. So that for this dental practice, because it's a pretty healthy practice, is about 20%. You can see as you change the dial, it impacts the valuation figure. You can enter some additional information down here, but that is the only required piece of information, and we're going to go to the next page. Then we have some operational details, and the one we want to pay attention to is the very last question down here. Do you rent or do you own? If you own, let's say you own the building that your dental practice operates out of, and that building is going to be part of the package deal when you sell your practice. Well, guess what? The fact that you own that building is going to have a pretty significant impact on your valuation. In this case, we just rent. So I'm going to answer a sub question right here, which is what is the monthly rent? And we're paying that out to an outside third party who owns the building. You can leave the square footage blank or you can put that in there. All right, this is the last step. So what I would encourage you to do, highly recommend that you do at this point, is to write down this business valuation number, because when you hit save and continue at the bottom there, it's going to take you to a landing page that says thank you, and you're not going, that valuation number is going to go away. We will email you what that valuation number is with a screenshot, and I'll show that to you in just a second. But before you hit save and continue, enter your value, or write this down, this valuation number right here. After you finish the valuation, this is what we're going to send you. It's a screenshot of not just your valuation number, but it's also going to show you down here at the bottom how your business value compares to other offices of dentists, of which there are 370,000 of them in the country, and then how your valuation compares to other dental practices locally. So there's some additional information that's benefit there, but now you have the foundational element of your business and knowing what your business is worth.
Thank you so much for watching this training video. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope it was useful, and I hope most of all that you are now motivated to go and start and finish, not just start, but finish your business valuation. So start by gathering those 8 pieces of information. If you don't have them readily available, I will put a list, very succinct list below, so you'll know exactly what you need to do. And go and do your business valuation. It's going to take you 5 minutes once you have that information at your fingertips. So you no longer have any excuses not to know what your business is worth.